Yuval Harari is basically the voice of the World Economic Forum, and he's about to say something that should blow all of us away. Hey guys, study after study shows that if you want strong bones and muscles, healthy hair, skin, teeth, and nails, you need the 5 types of collagen in your diet. I get mine from BioTrust. I've got a link in the description with a massive discount, and it'll tell you all about it. All right, we're going to listen to what this guy has to say, and then we're going to look at the words of the father of public relations from, I don't know, about 100 years ago. But listen to what Yuval Harari says, and let's kind of weigh it on the scales of rationality, logic, and reason, and see, we'll discover if what he says is actually true. And let's try to make a couple of life applications. Let's listen to this.
Now, up till now in history, the humans were so complicated that from a practical perspective, it still made sense to believe in free will. Because nobody could understand you better than you understand yourself. You had this inner realm of desires and thoughts and feelings, which you had privileged access to this inner realm.
Yeah, but that hasn't changed today, right? Like that access
is changed.
Still.
There is no longer the privileged access now.
So you used to have access, singular access, exclusive access to your free will. You knew what was going on inside of you more than anybody else on the outside of you possibly could. But he's basically saying, well, there's been a shift. Now it's not just you who have access. Now others have access to that inner sanctum, to that inner realm. So the question is that true? Is that demonstrably true? Is he telling us something that we basically already know through the use of our gadgets, our devices, our lifestyles, what we choose to let into our lives? Let's just keep on with this. This is very, very interesting.
Belongs to corporations like Google. They can have access to things happening ultimately inside my body and brain, which I don't know about. There is somebody out there, and not just one, all kinds of corporations and governments, that maybe not today, maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, they will have privileged access to what's happening inside me.
Maybe in 5 or 10 years, maybe not today, maybe today. Maybe they do have access. Maybe they've got the key that unlocks the door of your privacy, where it used to be only you knew what your inner thoughts were. Only you knew what made you tick. And sometimes even back then, even now, you don't even know really what makes you tick. And you got to go to a specialist, and they ask you a bunch of questions, and you sit down and have a bunch of consultations, and they basically telling you, well, probably the reason you're acting like this is because of this right here. And then you're like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. So there are people who gain access into your mind. They gain access into your thought process. They examine your facial features, your eye movements, your actions, your activities, your habits, your acquaintances, the diagnostics that you put out, because everybody who's got these devices right here, they have accelerometers, so they're studying your gait, your heartbeat, what brings your pulse up, what floods your system with excitement, what kind of stimulus, outside stimulus, actually sets you off and makes you respond positively or makes you respond negatively. There are people who are collecting all this data on you because you're giving them access into your life, and we all do it. Don't say that you don't. I'm looking at a computer right now with a webcam, and who's watching the webcam? Well, you guys are, but who else is? Who else is studying my facial expression? Who else is studying how I respond to certain outward stimulus? Who else is looking at what I look at? We have these front-facing and rear-facing cameras on these devices right here, and we're basically giving away the farm. We're giving away the land the farm sits on. We're giving away all the farm equipment. We're giving away all the people that inhabit that farm. We're giving away everything. And it's all for convenience. It's all for pleasure. It's all for, fill in the blank, whatever your reason is. But as much as he has painted himself out, and the World Economic Forum has painted themselves out to be our enemies, they're actually just saying the silent part out loud, the part that you and I already know. And don't assume that what you know, everybody else knows. There's a lot of people who aren't even clued into what you know, and what you and I know is probably not even, a fraction of the entire story. So we're going to go on with this. Listen to this. This is super scary stuff. If you internalize what he's actually saying, and if you think about the far-reaching ramifications of where this could actually go, and then he's going to start talking about AI, this artificial intelligence, who's actually studying what you are so they can duplicate who you are and maybe have an identical copy of your identity. It's crazy stuff.
More privileged than my access. They could understand what is happening in my brain better than I understand it, which means they will never be perfect.
Right, but you will, as a free person, right? Like you will have delegated that access or that ability to this corporation or this machine or this.
No, you don't have to give them permission. I mean, in some countries, maybe you have no choice at all.
Isn't that funny? He's saying them, like for third person. You don't have to give them permission. He is one of the them, at least on this side of the curtain. I'm not saying that he's not a puppet dangling from the string, but he is one of the them, or at least he represents the them who want to control you, who want to usher in the fourth industrial revolution, the great reset, that you'll own nothing and be happy, the eat the bugs scenario that they want to, paint our world to actually become.
But even in a democracy like the United States, a lot of the information that enables an external entity to hack you, nobody asks you whether you want to give it away or not. Now, at present, most of the data that is being collected on humans is still from the skin outwards. We haven't seen nothing yet. We are still just at the tip of this revolution, because at present, whether it's Google and Facebook and Amazon, or whether it's the government or whatever, they are trying to understand people mainly on the basis of what I search, what I buy, where I go, who I meet. It's all external.
So he's saying what we have now is the tip of the revolution. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see the plans that we have laid out for you guys. And there ain't nothing. It's almost like they're just putting it all out in the open, saying the unspoken parts out loud and saying, see if you can stop it. You won't be able to.
The really big revolution, which is coming very quickly, will be when the AI revolution and machine learning and all that, the infotech revolution, meets and merges with the biotech revolution and goes under the skin.
The marriage of biology with technology. Who have we heard that from? Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, Neuralink, Elon Musk, now Yuval Harari. It goes deeper. It goes under the skin. It goes into your brain. What did Klaus Schwab say? In 10 years, everybody's going to have a brain chip in there. We'll all have it. Every one of you. If you want to integrate, if you want to be a part of society, you're going to have to go along to get along. That's total control. Guys, I'm telling you, whatever reins we currently have in this situation right now, they're slipping from our grip at breakneck speeds. If we even have a hold of the reins at all.
When biometric sensors or even external devices, now we are developing the ability, for example, to know the blood pressure of individuals just by looking at them. You don't need to put a sensor on a person. Just by looking at the face, you can tell what is the blood pressure of that individual. And by analyzing tiny movements in the eyes, in the mouth, you can tell all kinds of things from the current mood of the person. Are you angry? Are you bored? To things like sexual orientation. So we are talking about a world in which humans are no longer a black box. Nobody really understands what happens inside, so we say, okay, free will. No, the box is open, and it's open to others, certain others, more than it is open to you. You don't understand what's happening in your brain, but some corporation or government or organization could understand that.
So he's saying whatever's happening inside of you, not even you understand it, but the people who are constantly analyzing you understand it. They understand you so much. They understand you way better than you know yourself, to the point where they can actually predict what you might do in the future. And guys, this is nothing new. In his book, Propaganda, this is something that Edward Bernays wrote that people should have paid attention to. My question is, how do we stop this? This is so grave. This is so alarming. Are we going to keep heading down this road? Because, convenience basically dictates, well, yeah, this is kind of fun to have. This is kind of convenient to have. This actually creates efficiencies in our life. We can get a lot of stuff done. People make money with this stuff. Are we willing to give that up? Or are we going to continue to keep it so they can learn more things about us, so they can lay more plans for us? Here's what Edward Bernays wrote. He said, the conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism, we're talking about decades and decades ago. I can't remember when Propaganda was written. It was probably the 1930s, 40s, or 50s, somewhere around there. We're talking about decades and decades ago. Before anybody heard of AI, before they heard of email, before they heard of internet or all this gadgetry that we have today, way before it. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses. So somebody's manipulating the habits and the opinions of the masses. And they do it through something called propaganda or public relations or, just outright manipulation. Advertising is part of this. Is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. You thought it was Biden. You thought it was Kamala Harris. You thought it was Donald Trump. You thought it was George Bush. You thought it was Barack Obama. No, there's an unseen, invisible government, the true ruling power of our country, the people who actually pull the strings, who manipulate the levers and push the buttons, not only in society, but also in the halls of government. We are governed. In other words, controlled. Another synonym for governed is controlled. We are controlled, we're governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. What's the logical result? Oh, that there's an unseen, invisible government, people who have the hands on the levers of power, and they're actually manipulating the organized habits and opinions of the masses and each individual that makes up the masses. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. Hey, you want to be a part of this society? You want to participate? You want to be able to buy and sell things like, food and clothing and shelter? Or you're going to have to participate in our society that we've created for you, that we have organized for you, that we have prepared for you, that we have predicted would come. If you want to participate, well, you're going to have to sign on to the social credit system. If you want to participate, well, then you're going to have one of these devices so that we can track and surveil and predict your performance. And so we can look at your demographics and we can find out who you're acquainted with, who you're hanging around with, what you spend your time doing, what are your habits, where are you going, what your facial features are, what your eye movements are telling us, what your blood pressure is. In almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind. It is they who control you. They control the individuals that make up the masses, and they control the organized habits and opinions of the masses. So what Yuval Harari is saying is true, But, this is dropping the barrier of free will and actually injecting ideas into people's minds that didn't come from them, creating habits that didn't originate from them. Doing things that they probably never would have done if it wasn't suggested by the unseen, invisible government and the powers that shouldn't be. The question is, how do we get ourselves out of this? Because this ain't a road I think any of us really wants to go down. Leave your thoughts about this. I mean, I really want to hear your thoughts. Leave some comments on how we can get out of this kind of stuff. We see what the problem is. We can identify it. We can articulate it. But what's the solution? I mean, do we keep on going? Staying plugged into the current system? Is there any way to stop it? Guys, leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell notification icon. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with everybody you know. And don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. I will see you guys in the next heavily censored Shadow Man video. Guys, we already know that they want to decimate the dollar, destroy the economy, bring us into a cashless society, and eventually make it difficult for us to even get food. That's why I constantly promote My Patriot Supply. Every chance I get, I turn my fiat currency notes into long-term storable food. This stuff is awesome. It's got a 25-year shelf life. And one thing we're all going to need is storable food. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. With my link in the description, you get $100 off of every order instantly. It'd be a good idea to order it while you can, because I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be able to ship this out. My link for your $100 off discount is in the description below.